Hey everybody, welcome back to Ginger and Chocolate. I'm your co-host Mike, and alongside my good friend and co-host Lindsay. Lindsay, how are you doing today?
Hey, what's up? I'm all right. I slept like garbage last night, which is par for the course, but I'm on vacay, which I'm excited about. And
Nice.
you know, one thing about vacation, staying at like a VRBO, is that you don't have access to your normal coffee situation and
Yeah,
routine. And so I haven't had mine yet. So if I don't make any sense, that's why.
that makes sense. I've had a little bit. It looks like our guest is having some coffee today, and just a quick update before we introduce our special guest. Um, let's see. I've been doing some good training. I've been putting a lot of miles in the road, and I'm actually at a point now where it feels like running is fun again, which unlike the first 2 weeks, it was a big struggle to put the miles in there and do anything past maybe 3 miles. But I'm up to
Nice.
about 13 and a half right now and feeling pretty good. So that's where I'm at. Got my Marine Corps marathon coming up in October. So yeah, we're halfway there training wise. What about you, Lindsay?
Nice. Well, I'm not training for anything right now, so that helps. Doing a
That
lot of
does.
bike riding. Um, but I'm in Tahoe right now. We like to come up here in the summer and ride our bikes. And so I have my mountain bike with me and my road bike. And I've done some uh, mountain biking at North Star, which is really fun. And yeah, I'm stoked to be here.
Awesome. Well, let's bring on our guest. It's my friend Patty Lyn, who I've swam with a lot. And Patty Lyn, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I got really excited. We swam together in the past in Petaluma, and I got really excited when I saw you completed a Donner Lake swim. Was that last month or
That was
earlier
last
in
week.
August?
Yeah, it was,
Last
no,
week,
it
yeah.
was on the 9th. Yeah. So
Yeah.
a week ago.
Swimming at elevation, what's that like? Is it a trip to find your breath at what 7,000 feet?
It's 5,500,
Okay.
between 5,500, 6,000. I think it's 5,500. And yes, it is. When you first go up to the mountains, and I know that Lindsay knows this because she's there right now, even walking up a flight of stairs, you definitely notice that there's no air there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
molecules that aren't attached. And so the part of the challenge of the swim is just really it's a mental thing. You have to kind of just not panic when you don't feel the air there. You have to know that it's coming. You have to just really trust in your body, and that's the mental challenge of a, and it's a distance swim too. It's not just at
Hmm.
altitude. It's almost 3 miles. So
Yeah. That's
yeah, the whole length of Donner Lake, which is in Truckee, California.
Mhm.
yeah. That's a long way. It takes a little while. Did How was getting right into it? How was your pace? Were you swimming about the same speed you usually swim open water, or did you slow it down because of the altitude?
No, you tend to panic and just speed right up. No matter how much you're inside your head. So this is my fifth swim, my fifth Donner Lake swim
Wow.
overall. And Lindsay, you may be interested. We had a house up there for 15 years, and so I swam in that lake all the time. And so I'm very comfortable. It's like my home. It's like my backyard. That lake. I've had
Yeah.
me in it. I've had my daughter in it. I've had the dogs in it. So going there is no big deal. But the altitude is, because we're at sea level here,
Uh
and
huh.
the altitude is a function. But I found that training really can help overcome that. And the training isn't so much about. Well, I did a lot of aerobic training this time, but it's not so much about that. It's just about the idea that just like when you do your marathons, you put in the time, you've trained,
Hmm.
your body is ready for this, and so you just trust in that. You're like, hey, I got this. Whether I do faster this year or slower, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's an altitude swim. It's open water, which means if I don't navigate well, I'm going to go slower. My whole distance time is going to be longer.
Hmm.
So, but this year I was lucky. I navigated well, and my splits were faster. So my 100 split was 3 seconds faster.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and when you're training up for this, do you train sighting in the pool, or do you train just sighting open water swim and practicing, or how do you
This
ready for
year,
that?
part of the benefit, as you know, the team that I was with before, I don't know whether you know, but we've actually the Salty Krakens closed down. Our coach moved
Hmm.
to Texas, and our pool was closed for a while. And then I moved, so I'm in another city. So I've been training with the Santa Rosa Masters, and they have a huge cohort of people who do open water, and they have an unofficial gathering of people who like to swim in Lake Sonoma on a weekly basis. And
Oh,
so, yeah, it's just people meet up and then they swim. We
Hmm.
wear buoys and make sure we're there. And I jumped in with them, and because of that, I was doing weekly 1.5, 2 mile swims, which really helped me prepare mentally because in addition to oxygen deprivation,
Yeah.
there's just the long term aches and cramps that you get in the water and not panicking when you get a leg cramp. That's really, for me, that's my issue is leg cramps. And this year I didn't have any, so I was so excited.
yay.
Oh, that's got to be a
Did you
blessing. Yeah.
did you wear a wetsuit? Because I was going to say Donner Lake swims on my list and my bucket list, and I was actually registered for it one year when there was a big fire, and they
Yes.
said, well, we're still doing the swim, but I mean it's going to be and I have like exercise induced asthma, so I chose not to. But
Hmm.
I always feel like I do so much better in my wetsuit because I'm used to triathlon, and so I wanted to be part of the group, the sort of
There's a wetsuit
non-serious. Yeah,
division.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't wear a wetsuit.
Mm.
I have my own installation.
And
How
it sounds
long
like your
have you been
form's
open
pretty good
waters?
too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So quick answer to both questions. I started swimming 30 years ago. I've been swimming masters for 30 years.
Wow.
And I started when I was 32. And I came to the pool early one day. I was swimming down on the peninsula, lap swimming, and I came to the pool early. And there's all these people in the pool, and there's like four people to a lane. And I'm like, what the heck is this about? And I saw a guy standing on the deck, and I went up to him and I said, is this lap swim? And he says, no, this is masters. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, we compete, we swim, we do coordinated workouts. He says, jump in. And I said, I knew one stroke. And I said, I don't know. He says, but Mike knows me. And he's like, okay, yeah, sure. So I jumped in.
Yeah.
And within a year, I was swimming with him regularly. And I think a year later, I did my first open water swim, which is a biggie. It was the Trans Tahoe. So,
That
Mm-hmm.
was your first open water and
yeah, it's
within a
a relay.
year?
The caveat, it's a
Sure.
relay. But yeah, so that
Sure.
was maybe
But
94 or five. No, it's probably 1995. And we had a team. Somebody needed whatever fourth or fifth, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it. And they let me come with them, and
oh wow.
it was amazing. It was. I was halfway through the lake. You go the crosswise. It's like 11, 12 miles, and I was halfway through the lake when it was my turn to get in, and the water's 55 maybe, and
Yeah.
no wetsuit, and you jump in and it's like being in outer space because it's 1,600 feet deep, and the
Oof.
light just goes down and disappears. It's like something out of Alien, and it was the most amazing feeling. It was just really awesome, so
Mm.
cool. So
And do you
that was my first open water.
is that
Yeah,
do you do for
literally
No
relay?
jump in the
crane.
deep end.
Yeah, that is kind of a big one for the first open water swim. Um, do you for that swim? Is is the relay timed like you swim for half an hour and the next person swims for half an hour? Or are you doing distance before you
You
trade off?
start out, yeah, you start out swim for half an hour, and then you go to 15 minutes because everybody gets cold, and you
Oh,
don't want to
okay.
get
Hmm.
hypothermia. Because then you get off the boat and like you have to time it so that you get off the boat and somebody jumps in at the same time. And then I'm trying to think. This was so long ago, and the rules may have changed now. I don't know. At the time that I did it, that's the way we did it. And the first was a half hour swim, and then after that it was 15 minutes. So for me, more guts than brains, I was like, oh, I can do a half hour swim. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So it was really awesome, and it really introduced me to the concept of just the camaraderie of being with swimmers at an event, before an event, after an event.
Hmm. Hmm. Swimmers are
Yeah.
a lovely, welcoming crowd. That's been my experience as well. Master swimmers are so, there's these. Maybe you're one of these fast swimmers in the pool, and then there's people who are not. Now you're shaking your head. um, you'll see people that are just blazing fast, and people that are just learning how, and everything in between. And it seems like everyone still enjoys each other's company.
They're so
Hmm.
welcoming. And even though I've been swimming a really long time, I didn't start swimming until I was an adult. So for age group swimmers who competed in, grade school, middle school, high school, college, they're always going to be faster than me in the pool. And kind of the beauty of when I started swimming at my age, I was 32. I'm like, I'm never going to be fast. So the only thing that I have are my personal records, my personal best, how I feel that day. And I was going to share with you a story. There was a guy on my team down at the San Mateo Masters. His name was Ray Taft, and he's actually in the International Swimming Hall of Fame. And Ray was, according to what I recall from my conversations with him, he was supposed to be at the 1936 Olympics that we didn't go to because it was in
Hmm.
Germany. And he was a competitive swimmer with Johnny Weissmuller. And if you know your Tarzan lore, you'll know that Johnny Weissmuller was the original Tarzan in like the black and white movies. So anyway, Ray was pretty elderly when I was swimming with him, and he'd had so many experiences. And I asked him one day, I said, Ray, what is your best time in the pool? When it was like when you were so in tune with your environment? And he looked at me and he said, today, because that's the way he looked at it. It was a reset. Every day was
Mm.
his best day. And it was really inspiring to me because I realized that I could swim for the rest of my life
Hmm.
and have a sport that I could do for the rest of my life. And it was an epiphany, really. It was. And something that even if I did a little bit, I swam through my pregnancy.
Hmm.
I remember my coach at the time, she's like, use the ladder. Because
Hmm.
I swam up until a week before I gave birth. Um, and it turns out your swimming suit just expands with you.
It's like, yeah,
So
they don't.
it's been a lifelong pursuit, and I've gotten so much more out of it than so many things. I do a lot of different things, but this is by far the most rewarding.
Mhm.
I mean, except for parenthood. Sorry.
Of course,
Mm.
that's a given. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask you a little bit about your open water swimming, sort of all the experiences, and maybe what your favorite swim has been thus far, and why, open water wise.
Open water wise,
Mhm.
I would say my favorite swims are not necessarily the competitions, but where with a group of people that are similarly excited to be there.
Mm.
I will say this most recent experience, and my family will confirm, was probably one of the best. And the reason it was one of the best is that there were, I think, maybe a dozen to 14 swimmers from the team I'm on. We all got into Donner Lake,
Oh
and Donner
wow.
Lake isn't a lottery, but you have to register right at the time it sells out in about 8 minutes. And so a big bunch of us got, you know, got to go in, and I didn't know at the time because I registered before like in June, before I really knew all these swimmers. And so as I started talking to people and I started going to these ad hoc open water swims up at Lake Sonoma, I realized how many people were going to go to the swim.
Oh, that's
They'd
great.
already arranged their lodging and everything, and I have a friend up there because we had a house up there for 15 years. So on the day of the swim, I went with them, and it was like being at a swim meet with a team. There were so many people there, and our coach is so enthusiastic and just, her name is Allie Davis, and she is young and a great swimmer. She, in fact, on this event, she was the first woman across the finish line. So
Wow.
I was 30.
Oh wow.
6 minutes behind her. So that's the kind of enthusiasm we have. So I would say that going the whole thing, coming and having my teammates with me at the end, cheering me up the ramp, staying for the awards, which I've never done before because I'm not getting any awards. And then watching, they had this like makeshift podium and
Hmm.
watching people in all the different age groups come up. And the last age group was 85 to 99.
Nice.
And it was a man
Whoa.
swam it in under 2 hours. I
Oh.
have no idea how old he was. He needed help to get up the podium. But there were and a huge number of women in their 70s and 80s.
Hmm.
It was like, yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. That is
That's
one of
amazing.
my plans
That's
for continuing to be
and
on the podium is to just age, just keep aging. Eventually, you
Oh
will
yeah,
be.
exactly. There's a woman in my age group, and I think she might be my age, who always takes first place in these things. And of course, she was there. So I mean, I have to wait until there's only 3 people in my age group, and
Right.
then I'll be on the podium.
You
Exactly.
just said you're a lifelong swimmer, so you will get there one day.
Yeah. As long as, and the thing, just going back to the lifelong swimmer, I've seen people, you know, basically use walkers to get to the edge of the pool and then get in the pool and they're 30 again. And
Yeah.
uh,
mm,
it's like that because it's just a completely different muscle memory than walking.
Mhm.
There's a woman I know who I swam with. She did this swim, and she's extremely fit, but she's had both her knees replaced. And at where we swim at Lake Sonoma, it's so steep that she uses uh, walking poles to get in and out of the water. But she gets in there and she
hmm
kicks ass. Sorry.
Mhm.
yeah. No, you can say all that here.
Yeah, it's a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. That's I love the lifelong swimming mentality because I'm similar to you, Patty Lynn, in that way that I didn't start swimming into my 30s. And, and it was a similar kind of intro where I didn't know if I'd be welcome at a master's team is where I started training with people. And I was completely welcome, completely welcome. I started, of course, at the slow side of the pool, but what I love about it is just the inclusivity and hey, you're here. What are you about? Let's see where you fit in within the team because you do fit in, and
Mhm.
let's help you get better.
Hmm.
It's interesting because I was a little worried when I went to Santa Rosa because they have a much bigger membership. They have some highly competitive and accomplished swimmers of all different ages,
Hmm.
and I found the same, if not more, inclusivity there amongst women my age who are, I'm in one lane, and women my age are in all the faster lanes too, all the way up. And so to sort of be welcomed by them in the locker room and yet know that, especially if they're on Strava, I know at the end of the day that they did 1,000 more yards than I did in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're kind
Right.
of like, uh, but anyway, it's just been I I was just reinforced with that memory of being welcomed. And I think it's something about the sport and what it takes to commit to it. It's not just a sport about speed, it's a commitment to being there and to being there at a certain time, especially if you swim at 5:45 in the morning like I do. It's a commitment to taking
Yes.
care of your body,
Hmm.
and also, you're in a swimsuit. There are no secrets when you wear a swimsuit. And and so there's the body positivity of
Hmm.
what you
Hmm.
look like, seeing somebody when I was 32, I was seeing people at my age now in swimsuits, and it really just let me know that's what I'm going to look like in a swimsuit, and it won't matter because
Right.
she's here and I can be here.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
It's swimming is interesting that way. I came up running, and so you can, to a certain degree, size other people's fitness and maybe potentially their abilities by looking at them, in advance. You can say this,
mhm.
you can see this person has a like distance running body type. They're very light, they're very small, thin. You can kind of tell, okay, they're probably there's a good chance they're going to be fast or whatever. swimming, you can't, I mean, you can be in the locker room, like you said, this could be someone who's not even walking that steadily, and then they can get in the pool and they're way down, way up in the lanes, which I do love it. I love that it's not something where
Mm-hmm.
people are necessarily sizing each other up in the locker room because it's just a different vibe, I think. People aren't competing necessarily. I don't know what's happening up in the elite lanes. They might be having a different experience.
Oh,
Um,
it's different. There's definitely like a break off. There's the
mhm.
lifelong swimmers there's like three groups. There's the Mike and I group where we came to it late and we're in there chugging every time.
Yeah.
And then there's the age group swimmers who are no longer very competitive, and
Mhm.
they're sort of in that middle group. And then there's the age group swimmers who are like they're going to go to worlds, they're going to go to all the open water, they're going to go to all the pool meets. They're
Mhm.
going to they're going to do training in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing all of those things, and they all mix together,
Yeah.
in the pool. But there's kind of like three groups, and it kind of works out to the lanes. But you can have someone like if you have someone in that middle group, their BMI may be a lot more than mine, and
Mhm.
they're still going to kick my butt when
Yep.
they're and it's so much of it is technique, especially if you learned it in childhood. It's
Yep.
muscle memory, and you can see people of all different shapes and sizes get in the water and be the most elegant thing that you've ever seen.
Mhm. That
And
is
I
something
love
that's
that about it.
interesting.
Yeah, it's so true.
Y- there are people who look like dolphins when they're doing the butterfly. It's just amazing. I can tell by the way I feel that I don't look like a dolphin. I've never seen myself, but you can tell, right? It's like I'm not having the same experience as that person who's in lane one. Um, the technique that you
Yeah.
the point about technique that you just brought up is interesting because I feel like swimming is one of those sports where with cycling and running, for example, you could start any time in your life and you can nail down the technique. You can if you make all the effort and do all the other strength training, all the things you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But swimming, for some reason, it makes a difference if you swam as a child. I'm with you guys. I didn't start swimming until I was 39 and wanted to do a triathlon. I mean, I could swim, but I couldn't swim for exercise. And I have a
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend who swam growing up, and we both, raced triathlon, and she would get in the pool like twice before the race, and then we'd have the same time. You know what I mean? And she hadn't been swimming at all, and I'd been swimming 3, 4 times a week. Um, so it's interesting. It just seems
Yeah.
it's like about I don't know what that is, but I don't know any other sport like that where the technique is so important and it's different when you're a kid.
Well, swimming, and to add on to what you were saying, when I raised my daughter, I gave her an option. She had to have one sport, didn't matter what it was. And she ended up choosing swimming, probably because I was already there. And I'm glad she did. And she's not swimming now, but I know when she comes back to it, she's going to be one of those swimmers that is just, she has all the muscle memory. And it's a little bit like taking piano lessons when you're a kid.
Mhm.
It's a lot easier to come back to it. You just, there's things are so plastic at that age,
Mhm.
that you
Mm-hmm.
and it's complex movements for swimming as opposed to running, which is very much, we all run
Mhm.
when we grow up,
Mm-hmm.
but not all of us swim. And so I think that it's like skiing too. Skiing also, you can get to a point, but if you're going to, like, every time I ski, I feel like I'm learning something because
Mhm.
and every day is different, when I ski, and it's the same with swimming. The water's different, the temperature's different. You have to, it's
Yeah.
as if you're always acquiring experience. And there's never a day in the pool where I'm not either learning something new or recalling something new.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I should do this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know whether you guys, when you lap swim, but when I lap swim, there's a whole thing going on in my head. Okay, stretch out, don't get that extra
Yep.
breath before you flip. When you flip, explode off the wall. This is all like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there. And people think, oh, lap swimming must be so boring. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. Um,
There's a lot to that.
one of the things I love about also master swimming is it's better than ginkgo biloba for trying to remember stuff,
Yeah,
because
Mm-hmm.
rather. And Mike, this might be different for you, but rather than have the workout on the board, our coach comes to us and she goes, okay, you're going to do this and this and this and this. And she repeats it. And then you better remember it, or you're like, hey, did anybody get the teacher's notes? Because you forget. And you have to
Yeah.
sequence the workout in your head so you remember it. And that's what you're thinking of too. And you're also thinking about your split. So if I'm doing hundreds on 145, then I have to think about, I'm looking at the clock and I have to think about what 145 looks like when I get back so I know when to push off again. While at the same time, I'm thinking about what my flip turn is going to be and how many strokes I'm taking and whether I'm going to breathe on this side or
Hmm.
that side. So it's kind of a lot.
Hmm.
And I think, I don't know whether running's that way. Well, I've done a lot of running, and I've done half marathons. So I would say that it's not like that.
No, no, because you can just get into
Yeah.
your
I
breath and
don't
your
think there's as
breathing and
much
just kind of
math
be there
involved.
in the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not as much math. Yeah.
And I think I my master's the same way. There's no board. Um, for me, one of the things that happens, I don't know about you, but do you ever lose count of of your laps?
Oh
Because that
yes.
sometimes I'm thinking about all the stuff you just said, and then I was like, wait, did I how far have I just gone? Master's helps with that because hopefully
Absolutely
someone else in
true.
the
Yep.
lane does. Yeah.
100%. And that's when, especially when you're leading, that's a bummer.
Hmm.
If you've got three people in your lane and
Oh yeah.
they're counting on you to count, and they'll tell you, they're like, no, 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 we have another lap. Oh, okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, Mike and I have shared a lot about how endurance sports has helped us with our mental health, stress reduction, things like that. Do you
Hmm.
find that swimming is helpful for you in other areas of your life outside of swimming?
Yes. And I don't know whether Mike knows this, but one of the reasons we had that house in Tahoe is that I had breast cancer in 2005.
Mm.
And it was, as it turns out, it was a glancing blow, but we didn't know. And I had a 5-year old. And so I did everything. We had surgery and I did chemotherapy and radiation. And that summer was our 20th anniversary. And my husband and Lindy um, went up to Truckee and they found us a cabin. And they're like, this is where you're going to heal, is in this
Mm.
place here. And that's when I started swimming in Donner Lake. So that's
Wow.
why it has a lot of meaning to me. And my first Donner Lake swim was, I think, let's see, I had my treatment in 2005. So I think 2007
Mm.
was the first Donner Lake swim that
Wow.
I did. And yeah, so my daughter was like 7. I have a picture of, I'll send you some pictures later, but I have a picture of her standing next to me and I'm getting ready to do the swim.
Mm.
So yeah, it was really important in my pregnancy.
Mhm.
I worked really hard to get
Hmm.
pregnant, and I was an older, like one of those geriatric pregnancies, and so being able to swim that whole time and just know that I was so in communication with my child at that time inside me, and being able to take both of us for
Hmm.
this nice soothing moment. And she would fall asleep. I felt her fall asleep in there when I was swimming, just so. She's a Pisces. I don't know if that connects or not, but um,
Wow.
so yes, and many, many times,
Yeah.
all forms of physical activity have been incredibly helpful to me. And I've had some challenges, definitely going through chemotherapy and just like having your life, understanding how short life can be when you're
Mm.
40. Let's see, how old was I? So I was 2005, 43.
Mm.
Um, is definitely, it's like you stop up short and you don't take anything for granted anymore.
Right, right.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you are healthy.
Oh yeah,
What?
it's been a long time.
Yes.
2005 is
Yeah,
a long time ago.
it is a long
Hmm.
time ago,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it stayed gone, which is also really good.
Yes.
Um, okay, do you swim? Do you do ocean swimming?
Yes. When I
Okay.
can. My team right now doesn't do as much ocean swimming. Actually, we haven't done any. But the last team I was on, we did ocean swimming about once a month from like the spring through to the fall. We went to a number of different places in Sonoma County and Marin County, and down to Aquatic Park. And I
Hmm.
think that I would love to find, and I'm sure given time, I'll find one or two other people on this team who want to swim at Aquatic Park.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there are people already I've
Mm-hmm.
met who have they have Dolphin Club memberships, which is one of the two. There's
Ooh.
two little huts right there, and they each have memberships, and they actually share. So if you have a membership in one, you can whatever one is open on that day, they'll you can go into the other one and like take a hot shower afterwards, which I haven't done yet, but I'm sure I'll find my ocean
Oh.
swimmers.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
It's
it's a
fun. I've done a
completely
lot of
different cat
swimming.
as well.
mhm. Yes,
So
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of things on my open water bucket list for ocean swims. I want to do Alcatraz, and I did have an Alcatraz attempt, but the winds were so high that they rerouted the swim, and so we didn't start at Alcatraz. We just went in and out of Aquatic Park, which was high adventure, but it was super windy, and I'm just as
Mhm.
glad that I wasn't out there in the bay. And then I want to do the Golden Gate swim, which actually is a fairly short swim, but you swim the length of the Golden Gate Bridge, so
Oh,
that's on my to do list.
is that an event or is that something where you hire like
Yes.
a boat and they pilot you along?
I think it can be a club event if you're with like the South End Rowing Club or the Dolphin Club. Those are the two that are right there at Aquatic Park. And I think there's one or two open water swim groups in the Bay Area, and I don't recall their names. I mean, but in the San Francisco Bay,
Hmm.
and they will do like a regular event of the Gold Gate Swim. But you do need to have like boats going along the side, and
Yeah.
it's the kind of thing that if you were to Google it, I'm sure you'd come up with probably one or two opportunities a year to do it.
Mhm. I do
Mm-hmm.
know one of those swim groups, just as an FYI, if anyone's listening wants to know, is called Odyssey, and they're over on the East Bay. They're one of the swim groups, and I
Yes.
know that they do a lot of open water, well, bay swimming, obviously, that's where they swim, but they do some events. They do a night swimming event there off the coast near Berkeley. There's one, I'm not sure how I,
Is this one out of Berkeley,
yeah,
Oakland area?
yes,
Yeah.
hmm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I was, my daughter was a Cal, and I was like, oh, I should go over there and swim with those guys.
Yeah, apparently it's. I have not swam with them. I have a friend who has, Heidi, Mike. She was swimming with them when she was training for the for
Mm-hmm.
Ultraman, and she said they were just like masters. The most welcoming, friendly group of people that were, just like, come on, get in the water. Let's, She had some trepidation. She had to overcome, some fear, uh, which so they were great for her in that regard. They were like, we're here, just come on, and that was how she got through her Ultraman training.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the caveat is that if it's January, February, March,
Oh.
or October, November, December, I'm in a wetsuit. If I'm in the, I used to be hardcore about that, but now I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm just too old. I'm putting the wetsuit on.
Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
It's a lot. I think you got to swim in the ocean a lot to get acclimated to the temperature up here, at least in Northern California. Because I tried weekly to do it, skins, just no wetsuit, and I got hypothermic a couple times. And I said, you know what? Perhaps the wetsuit is a good option for me.
I've never attempted it without a wetsuit. I'm like, nope, because I get cold with the wetsuit on, and so for
It's
me, it's
cold.
like, it's just
Yeah,
plus,
you don't get
Yeah.
there's no points for getting hypothermia. You don't get cool points
right,
for that.
Yeah. No, there aren't.
exactly.
Mhm.
I got zero
Never
cool
seen.
points. I remember I was sitting there in the
I know. What about the? So
You're in
I
your
have some
car and you're
friends.
like,
Yeah, exactly. And there's no one clapping you on while you're sitting in your car freezing to death.
no,
nope,
um,
no.
nobody.
what about bridge to bridge? Is that something you'd ever? Because I have some friends that have done that a few times. The Golden Gate Bridge to Bay Bridge swim. I think it's about 6 and some miles. It's not an event. It's where you hire the boat captain who does this, I guess, on a regular basis. Um,
Mhm.
it seems kind of neat. It seems like something that someone like yourself would like because like apparently there's like a river in kind of within the bay,
Yes,
like certain tides, so that
yes.
you can get
Mhm.
dropped in there. And then they said it was actually pretty fast.
I would have to look at the amount of time that I'm actually in the water, because so at my
Hmm.
speed, I'm that's one of the concerns. even about Donner Lake and why I trained so hard this year, even though the water temperature was great. If
Oh.
it's cold, if you're slower, you're in that water longer, and it just has it sort of has
Mm-hmm.
this effect. So that's why Donner is. It's funny because it's getting really crowded now, and I was talking to some. I'll get back to your question, but I was talking to some swimmers who did Donner, and they're like, "Wow, it's so hard to get in." And I said, "All we need is one cold water year, and it's going to drop off." You know, we get in there and it's 63 degrees or something, like nobody's going to sign up the next year.
Hmm.
And so that would be the key for me in the bridge to bridge is what the regular, like what the average swim time is. And I've thought about it, but I kind of like want to take little bites first, and I want to
Hmm.
get that Alcatraz and I want to get that Golden Gate Bridge. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, how long would I have to be in that water? And it's not so much, even if I'm in a wetsuit or something, you're still your face.
Yep.
It's psychology of it,
Yep.
and just like the whole. I'm not a spring chicken, so I'd have to work up to that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with people who do any bay swims. Alcatraz, I think, is a huge one, and I didn't even know about the Golden Gate one. That sounds actually kind of amazing because it's beautiful right there, and I can imagine
Mm-hmm.
looking around and enjoying the view. Um, what about? Well, no, I don't think this probably isn't for you either. But I just learned that a woman swam from the Golden Gate Bridge to Half Moon Bay along the coast. Same woman that swam
Oh,
the
that's
perimeter of Tahoe, that woman that just recently did the perimeter of Tahoe, she
Mm-hmm.
swam.
yeah, and she's not much younger than I am. I mean, she's yeah. Um, I think that's incredible. And I think that if that's your goal to set goals like that, there's a lot of things that happen in that swim. I mean,
Hmm.
she's dealing with tides.
Yeah.
She's
Uh-huh.
dealing with open water. She's dealing with surf, depending on how far. She's dealing with bigger animals in that
That's why
water.
Yes.
I would not want to do it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the
Same.
large.
Well, there's a swim, and I haven't done it in a really long time, but it was one of my, when I was down in the peninsula. It was the pier swim at Santa Cruz.
Hmm.
And they have a peer to peer swim now. I don't know if they have the pier swim any longer. And it was just under a mile. And it was so much fun. It's a surf swim. So you're getting in where the surf is rough and everybody, it's just like a mass start. Everybody runs into the water. And
Mm-hmm.
I did that without a wetsuit, but you're out there and the ocean's a big place. So even when you're out and you're in the rough water, you may or may not be seeing other swim caps.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you hear, "Er, er, er, er,"
Yes. I've done that there in
and you
Santa Cruz.
realize they're in the water with you.
Uh-huh.
And they're like 7 times your size.
Yeah.
And and they're curious. And
Hmm.
I was always afraid of getting spy hopped by a sea lion, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you start thinking about that, and that's how you get off, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or you start thinking about a great white shark or something crazy like that. Or
Hmm.
we used to swim in Tamales Bay with the
Hmm.
Petaluma salty krakens, and twice we had jellyfish.
Ah,
And if you want to see people
Yeah.
get up and walk on water,
yeah.
that would be the thing, is to hit a jellyfish. And you hit a jelly, and you're like, oh, I know what that was. I'm not, and oh, there's another one. Oh, how can I, you totally have a fight or flight response. And you really just have
Yes.
to be in your head, I'm going to hit a jellyfish. It's going to be okay. I'm not going to die. But it is very disconcerting.
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
agree. I've hit a few
Santa
jellies and
Cruz.
tamales and I wanted to
Yes.
quit immediately.
Yeah. You wish you could just like apparate out of there and just,
Yes.
Yes.
I am swimming the around the pier in Santa Cruz was the last ocean swim I ever did because I had a complete meltdown in the water because I had a huge sea lion next to me, which was fine. I just was like, he was just floating along looking at me. And so every time I breathed on my right side, because I breathe every other, every third, um, he was just there, and all of a sudden I was looking at him and he did this like look, he looked scared and took off. And that at that point my brain was like shark, because that's the only thing
Shark.
I could think
Yeah.
of that was going to freak this thing out. And
Oh, right. Yeah. What's he running from? And he's
what's
faster
he
than I
run?
am.
Right, right. Where's he? And like you said, that's the thing about swimming. It is open water. It's a mental game as well. And there was no one else around me, and I was way at the end of the pier, so I wasn't anywhere near So
You're like, I'm ready to climb up this thing.
I want to get out of this water. I was like, get me out of this freaking water. But after that, I haven't been able to get it back together mentally, and so I'm like, well, the beauty of California is there's beautiful lakes like Donner and Lake Tahoe and Sonoma. Um, so I don't have to go in the ocean, but it's a goal to get back in there and overcome
Hmm.
that fear. But it's definitely, once it gets in your head, it is a little bit like you said, you've got to talk yourself through it because it's probably irrational to a certain degree, but it makes a difference on your swim if you're spending the whole time fighting your brain.
Yes, and
Yes.
there when we would swim, we swam at Paradise Cove with the Krakens. We swam at there's a beautiful beach next to San Quentin of all places. So the
Oh,
last Marin exit right before you get on the Richmond San Rafael Bridge, and
Hmm.
it's very secluded. And there's always a lot of people there. It's a dog beach, so there's always a
oh,
lot of dogs there too. And so we would go back and forth. But sometimes it's as if you have to protect yourself from getting the thought in your head because then you start to run down the you start to go to the crazy place
mm-hmm.
of okay,
Yes.
I felt something on my foot. It's obviously a shark that's going to eat me. Um,
Right.
Hmm.
and so
Exactly.
this is funny. I have a friend of mine who doesn't like open water swims because she says it's not. She says even in a lake, and I said, well, why not? And she said, well, I'm always worried about the fish that's going to eat me. I'm like, that's not right. She goes, no, then there's the dead body that's going to float up. I'm like,
Right.
I
Yes.
never thought about that. Thank you,
Thanks for that image. Yeah.
because it's going to be there now.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
One friend that, or one of my friends that does the bridge to bridge is a just an amazing swimmer. She used to be coach um, one of the Hawaii Masters. She was a coach there. But her sister, I'm also friends with. Her sister will is like your friend, will not put a foot in open water. So we've got one doing bridge to bridge, and the other one's like, I'm good with the pool because she just has all the things, the dead bodies and the giant, you know, um, fish that no one's seen before. The Loch Ness monster. We've got all kinds of things coming up into the out of the water. So
the alligator
Yeah.
gars. Yeah.
Oh
My
God. Yeah.
my
I tried.
sister-in-law. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. That's fine.
My sister-in-law, we flew out to North Dakota to do some fishing this summer, and Lake Sakakawea is a great big reservoir in the western part of North Dakota. It's the Little Missouri River, and it's been dammed up and it filled over years, and it's flood control and does a lot of different things. So I've been there a bunch of times, and this year she's out there paddleboarding with me while I'm doing my training. So we'd fish all the morning, and then right before dinner, we'd go out and I'd do a training swim in the lake. And yeah, I was waiting for that alligator gar to come out of the bottom of the lake. And
Ugh, you're very strong mentally. That
Yes. No
I was just gonna
doubt.
say that
Yeah.
that friend that I just mentioned, I got her into the water one time to do a sprint triathlon, and it was at Donner, and
oh,
at the little beach at Donner, the triathlon's right there, and so you're just going. I mean, and the sprint's like 400 meters or something. I mean, it's very short. And the day before, I said, let's just go get in the water and float around a little bit. Like, there's all these kids float. I mean, there's like like an 8-year-old swam by. They're it's very, very mellow. And she did it, but she said, I'm never getting there again. It was terrifying. And I just thought, okay, that's fair enough. If you're afraid of Donner, the shallow end, definitely not for you. Definitely not.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is a true phobia, and you should just work with that.
Go to the
Just go
pool.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the pool, and you can't. Yeah, there's no. I think we fall into whatever category of fitness we're in. We kind of want it to be like, you're not as good as I am because I can do this.
Mm.
And as I've grown into the number of different sports that I have done over the years, one of the things that I recognize is self limitation, and that if somebody tells you they can't do something, it's not because they're not trying hard enough. There's a reason, and you may never know it, and it may not be any of your business. You
That's a
can
good point.
encourage them if they want to do it. You can say, "I can help you through it," but you can't tell them, "Oh, it's all in your head." I mean, we've all been
Hmm.
through it, and you
Yeah.
really can't tell someone that the reason you can't do this is completely psychological, and
Yeah.
you just need to get over it. And I think that that is very much a young athlete's attitude, is that the harder you
Hmm.
try, the more pain you feel, then
Yeah.
the better you are. And no, because that pays off when you're 55, 60. That pain that you had when you were 35 will come
Hmm.
back. And really teaching people how to take care of your body for your whole life is such an
Mhm.
important thing.
Yep.
No, it's a good way, and that's probably a good way to go out for the show. I think we have more to talk about, and perhaps another episode in the future. Um, one last question for you, Patty Lyn. If you were to say any encouraging advice to anyone looking into getting into swimming as an adult, what would you say? What would be a couple good first steps for them?
Stepwise, I would say go to your local pool and start swimming laps and talk to the other swimmers. That's the
Hmm.
easiest thing to do. And you can do it, and it's so accessible. And pool drop in fees, even in California, they're like $5 or $7 for a session. So if you
Hmm.
don't want to commit to joining a master's team or going and taking swimming lessons, or joining a club, you can always go to your local pool. And maybe it's only open, during the summer, but you can start there. Go to the YMCA. If you don't know how to swim, go to the YMCA and
Yeah.
take swimming lessons. And you should take swimming lessons if you're if you're an adult, especially if you have children. You need to be able to be with them in the water safely, and you don't want to pass on your water phobia, if you have one,
Mhm.
to your children. And you want to make sure, if you have children, take them to swimming lessons and make sure they're safe in the water, because they're going to go out in a
Hmm.
boat someday. They're going to have a friend who wants to take them water skiing, and it will eliminate them from a lot of activities that their friends are doing. So make sure they're
Yes.
safe in the water. They don't have to be master swimmers. If you want to pursue swimming as a triathlete, and you're already committed, and you're loving your cycling and you're loving your running, that would be a good time to join a club or join a master's team.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
joining a master's team as a triathlete it's so easy. There, if you go to usms.org, United States Masters Swimming.org, there are a number of options there to lead you to master swim teams in your area. And there are a lot of ad hoc people and ad hoc master swimmers who are not affiliated with any team, and they are at a number of different clubs across the country. So you can actually
Hmm.
just go to usms.org and go to their FAQs. You can email them and say, I want to start, I'm a triathlete and I want to start swimming. So
Mhm.
that's the easiest thing, is just getting in the water. And then once you find a group of people that you're comfortable with, then commit to it, just as you commit to all of your other training. And if you're already training for a triathlon, you're committed. So that's
Yeah.
not a
Good
problem.
point.
And it's like, oh, how do I fit it in? Well, the good thing about swimming is swimming, you can double up with anything else. So if you're
Hmm.
biking that day, you can swim and bike. Remember that swimming, when you get in, isn't about speed, it's about technique. And you have to do
Hmm.
it well, slowly, before you speed up.
Mhm.
And every
Yes.
time you change your technique or upgrade your technique, then you've got to slow down again.
Mhm.
And that is why it's good to be with a master's team, because part of your master's workouts usually are drills and techniques that drills and things that strengthen you, like kicking sets,
Mhm.
pulling sets, drills that make you more aware of your body in the water and how to be
Hmm.
hydrodynamic. So it's all layered in there. Even a little bit is better than none at all. So that would
Yes.
would be, if you're de novo, I want to go swim, those would be the steps that I would take. Or you could do like me and just show up an hour early at your local pool and accidentally run into a master's. That worked really well for me.
It seemed to work out
And
pretty well for you. Yeah.
the other thing I would say is that I was in the pool yesterday, and I was in with another swimmer who doesn't swim as regularly, and he said to me, we're at the end of a set, and I'm kind of like, come on, I was encouraging him a little bit because I knew I
Mm-hmm.
could. And he says, oh, I'm so sorry. He says, I'm not a swimmer. And I'm like, are you here? Are you in the, if you're here, you're a swimmer. If you're in the pool,
Yes.
you're a swimmer. And that really is the attitude of 90% of the people that you're going to run
Mm-hmm.
into at the pool. Uh, Another nice thing about master swimming versus lap swimming is we know how to share. Sometimes if you go in the
Mm-hmm.
lap swim, you've got the lady who's doing the breaststroke like this, and then you've got it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then people
Yeah.
get a little tweaky and territorial. So, master swimmers, will you be alone in your lane? Probably not, but we know how to share, and we're happy to, and we'll tell you if you're doing
Yes.
it wrong,
Yeah.
but in a
Exactly. I
nice way.
appreciated that in a nice way.
And
Yeah.
it's more interesting because you've got these friends, like you said, you get to the wall and there's like people there for 2 seconds that you can talk to and you can commiserate
Yeah.
with, or you can encourage each other, depending on what's
So
happening that
true.
day.
Or
Um,
just roll your eyes because sometimes that's all the energy I have.
yeah,
Good point.
exactly.
Good point.
One quick other thing I wanted to just add, your suggestions are great. I have a friend right now who is taking an adult swim class at the College of San Mateo. So you could check out your local community college because some of them have, and this is like an adult specific swim class. And it's not necessarily even like, I can't swim, I've never swam. You can look, they were teaching them all four strokes. And so
Oh,
that's
that's
something to check
great.
out. Hmm. Yeah.
I love
Yes.
San Mateo. That's where I started swimming.
Yeah. I mean, I live in Half Moon
Hmm.
Bay, so I'm close. Love it down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask a person like, where do you swim? But we can talk about that later.
I swim
So
Menlo Masters, Menlo Park,
Oh,
with Tim
they're pretty
Shaver.
hardcore.
Well, I mean, not all of us. Some of us are not. Yeah, 'cause I'm on that
Okay.
triathlon club, the Tim Shaver's
Right.
triathlon team, and so we swim with Masters, and that's how I got into that Masters. And I will just say quickly, there are a lot of very hardcore people on that team, but there are also some slower people. And a guy, Sid, he's one of the he gets there early in the morning and takes the pool covers off with his other group of like 90-year-olds. There's a bunch of them. They just get there really early. But I jumped in with him at the slow end, and he said, "Welcome to the lane of the old and infirm." And I was like, "This seems like a friendly place for me to be because I don't know what I'm doing." And he taught me all of how to circle swim, what I needed
I
to
love
do.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So highly recommend Masters. Don't feel intimidated. You'll find lovely people there, lifelong friends too.
Yeah.
Every Masters team has a Sid.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's perfect.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, God bless Sid.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He
Well,
really made it good for me. So
yeah. Well, Patty Lynn, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your morning to come on the show and share all your knowledge and experience about swimming. And it's a beautiful story. Um, so thank you for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It was a pleasure to share. I feel I'm everybody I know has a story like this that swims.
mhm.
Hmm.
So,
Awesome.
well, thank you for inviting me, and I'll see you in the pool,
Sounds
Mike.
good. Yes, I'll be there.
Thanks,
Go ahead,
listener.
Lindsay.
If you want to do one thing to support the show this week, share an episode, your favorite episode, whatever that may be. Share it with a friend who doesn't currently listen to the show, and so that we can spread our message. And you never know, someone out there might be helped by this. You may have a friend you don't know wants to swim and is afraid to get into the pool, and they may be inspired by this. So share any episode that you like with one of your friends, and we will see you next week.
All right,
Bye.
take care.